Happy New Year, everyone. Well, I hope 2024 is going strong and hard for you so far. We have pretty good games to look forward to this year, but in this video, I want to talk about the best games of 2023. Last year, well, it's so fucking weird calling 2023 last year. Last year was an incredible year for video games. It was an incredible year for the media and entertainment industries all around. Like Succession and Attack on Titan fucking ended. We had the whole Barbenheimer shit, but especially video games were that came up on top. There were just so many incredible video games. We had everything. Generation defining masterpieces in gameplay and innovation like Gollum. We had emotional, story driven games like The Walking Dead Destinies, and we had masterclass shooters like The Day Before. Okay, okay, seriously now. Well, 2023 was an amazing year for video games. I would say it is something kind of like of a leap year in incredible video games. I don't think to see any year like 2023 for video games any soon. Like we have years like 2010, there's 2015, and there's 2018, and now I can only think of 2023 where we had so many incredible video game titles, like from start to finish. Every single month there was some banger that released, and that's so fucking dope. So in this video, I'm going to be listing the top 5 best games of the year in my opinion. Like these are my personal top 5 games of the year. So okay, without wasting any more time, let's just get into it. At number 5 we have Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty. Well, I liked Cyberpunk even when I played it for the first time on my PlayStation 4. Yes, I liked it even then with all the plethora of bugs and performance issues. Like, even with all of those, I could still see that it had a good story and characters and even a world. So yeah, I liked it even back then, but I just wasn't able to experience it in the best way at that time. Well, no one was, because the game wasn't in the best way at that time. So I replayed it last year when I finally bought a PS5 after my PS4 had given up trying to run Cyberpunk. It was like, I'm tired, boss. And I was like, okay, it is time. And I replayed Cyberpunk when Edge Runners launched, because I had gotten back into the world of Cyberpunk with Edge Runners. And well, I fucking loved the game back then. But nothing had me prepared for how good Phantom Liberty was gonna be. Yes, it is that good. Phantom Liberty, in my opinion, is one of the best video game expansions ever. And I say that when Blood and Wine exists. Phantom Liberty, just combined with the 2.0 update, is an incredible experience. The music, the story, the characters, the writing, and the design, the quests, everything are just so amazing. It's such a great addition to the already amazing world and story of Cyberpunk. Dogtown is such a great new setting. It's just another amazing region crafted by CD Projekt Red. They never fail at creating amazing immersive video game worlds. And well, was it not good to see Stringer Bell once again?
It's about product. Yeah. We got the best goddamn product, so we gonna sell no matter where we are, right? Product, motherfuckers.
At number 4, we have Final Fantasy 16. Yes, I know a lot of people do not like Final Fantasy 16, and I also know that Final Fantasy 16 is not what Final Fantasy games are usually like. Now, I'm not going to lie and say that you are wrong and I am a true Final Fantasy fan. I have played every single game, expansion, DLC, and watched every single movie related to Final Fantasy and read every book related to Final Fantasy, and I'm the biggest Final Fantasy fan, and that Final Fantasy 16 is amazing and just like every other game. I'm not going to say that because I'm not a Final Fantasy fan, or at least a big one. The only 2 other Final Fantasy games apart from 16 that I've played are 7 Remake, which I absolutely love, and I'm so excited for Rebirth, and Final Fantasy 15. And 15 I wasn't really a big fan of when I first played it. It was kind of like my first Final Fantasy game, so yeah, I don't know what happened. I might get back into it, like try to replay it and see what I think about it now. But for now, I'm not a big fan of the game. But 16, I love 16. Now, the game is not without its flaws. It has some flaws, especially the side quests. The side quests, like 90% of them are horrendous. I don't know why they even crafted side quests like that. I just hope they could have like made something like more like the monster contracts you get in that game with the cute ass Mughal. I just thought, I just think they could have done something like that, or something other where you could have interacted with the world and characters of the game instead of those fucking abhorrent side quests. They not only slow down the pacing of the main story, well, I wouldn't even have had a problem with that, because I personally prefer slow pacing in stories, in everything, in movies, in shows, in video games, because I think slow pacing uh, gives the story and characters time to breathe and develop. The side quests in Final Fantasy 16 not only slow down the pacing of the main quest, they fucking halt it. And it's not even for good reason. They are just so badly made, and they have no like necessity most of the times. Like a few of them are good and have good payoffs and stories attached to them, but like 95 or even I would say 98% of the side quests are just truly bad. Now, why I'm criticizing the game is to make the point that even with all the flaws it has, even with the little flaws, I would say, apart from the side quest, I don't think it has any major flaws. And even with all those shit, I still fucking love the game so much. Like, out of any 2023 game, I would say that Final Fantasy 16 has the story and characters with which I connected the most personally. Like, dude, it's probably the only game in recent years that had me sobbing and shit. That ending hurt, man. It really did. That ending had me fucking broken. The cast gives off such incredible performances all around, but Ben Starr especially is just so sensational. His performance for me as Clive Rossfield in this game is, in my opinion, up there with the goats. Up there with the fucking goats like Roger Clark as Arthur Morgan, Doug Cockle as Geralt of Rivia, and Kevin Conroy, rest in peace, goat, as Arkham Batman. His performance is up there with the goats in my opinion. It's just so raw and real. In the game, Clive has so many moments where he's screaming and shit, and Ben Starr's screams and shrieks, they are so raw, genuine, and real. Like, it's wild in my opinion. Dude, like Ben Starr, dude, are you okay? Did someone fucking die in that room where you were recording with you? Because his voice, you actually hear the anger, sadness, and darkness and fucking pain in his voice when you play the game and hear Clive speak in some of the more story focused moments of the game. The game also has incredible combat. It has a Devil May Cry-esque combat. I think even the combat director or something from Devil May Cry 5 worked on this game, which shows, because I like Devil May Cry 5 so much. And the combat is kind of like that, and it has so much variety to it. Like, the more you play it and the better it gets as you acquire more skills and abilities and powers and shit. It also has the best boss fights and set design of the year, in my opinion, of 2023. And the music, geez, Masha Yashi Soken killed with that shit. Dude burned the house down. He fucking rocked, killed, and burned everything down with the music in this game. It's just so incredible. Nothing gets my blood pumping more than the music in this game. So yeah, I just personally really connected with the story, characters, and world in this game. And well, I don't know what else is there to say than I don't think I'm going to ever forget this story. And it is something that is going to stay with me forever. Okay, top 3 now. At number 3, we have Alan Wake 2. Now, I love Alan Wake. When I played Alan Wake for the first time, I was so excited after completing the game for the sequel for Alan Wake 2, and I waited so much time for it, and I had a lot of high expectations, and boy did it meet every single one of the expectations I have. Like most of the times you're so excited about a sequel and it fucking like disappoints you in some aspects or even in most, but Alan Wake 2 is one where it like exceeded my expectations. It was so good with everything. Gameplay wise, the gameplay and combat in Alan Wake 2 isn't anything extraordinary, but it is the level design, the music, the atmosphere, the narrative, like with the gameplay and combat that elevate the experience so much. It's such a mind bending fever dream of a game. It even makes you question your own sanity at points. Like, what the fuck is this shit? Is this what am I playing? Like, it's so crazy, but it's so good. I'm personally a big fan of small town stories, like, and love shows like True Detective and shit. And I love that Alan Wake 2 has such good small town world building and that adds so much depth to the story. Like it's connected to the location to Bright Falls, and I love how in depth the world in Bright Falls is. The whole Twin Peaks mind bending murder mystery shit is just so well done. The game also has some great level design. There are some chapters in this game at that point you're going to like, wow, this is insane. This is some incredible shit I'm experiencing right now. And the songs in the game are also so good. Like every single song, the ones you hear after the chapters end, or the ones by the amazing poets of the fall, fucking Herald of Darkness, dude. That's so good. Like I've been listening to all the songs on repeat since I finished the game. All around, Alan Wake 2 is just such a perfectly narrative driven video game. Sam Lake, I love you, man. You are such a genius. Number 2, we have Baldur's Gate 3. Well, yes, I have it at number 2. I do not have it at number 1. Why? Because, well, spoiler alert, I have something else at number 1. And there is a pretty good personal reason why I have that game at number 1, which I'll explain later. But for now, we have to talk about Baldur's Gate 3. And I won't lie, I haven't even finished Baldur's Gate 3 yet. Like, I'm still playing through it. But I already think it is a masterpiece game. It is a generation defining experience. It is not just an incredible game you play and you get done with. It is a video game that is going to be talked about for years to come. It is like 2020's big generation defining game that every other game is going to look to. The standard of video games now. Baldur's Gate 3 has done something fucking incredible. Once in a while you see a video game, you play it and you feel like there is so much passion and detail put in by the developers in it. Well, Baldur's Gate 3 is one of those games. Hats off to the devs at Larian. They have truly created one of the best video games ever. Yes, I am saying that it is true, and I think it absolutely deserved to win GOTY. It would have been my personal pick also. Like I know it's not my number 1, but I'm still saying that it would have been my personal pick for Game of the Year. I know it's weird, but you'll understand what I'm saying when we see number 1. Back to Baldur's Gate 3. This game is so massive, yet it is so in-depth and detailed. It's just so fucking wild that how massive, in-depth and detailed everything in this game is. Like every single decision matters. There are just so many ways to approach a quest, and that there are so many outcomes to every subplot and sub story in the game. It's just amazing. Everything matters in the game. Like every single dialogue option matters. It's not just some bullshit where the dialogue options are just for the personality of your character or something. Like there are real consequences to everything you do in that game. You have to be careful even just making the smallest decision. You don't know who dies. You don't know if you are making the decision which of your potential romances you can upset. This is so in-depth and thought about. I was tripping balls when I saw how much massive the game gets. And I love how everything just weaves into the story your character you are building with your character and the main narrative and everything. It just comes together so perfectly. I love how much responsive the world is with the decisions you make. I would say since Witcher 3, I don't think we've seen an RPG like that. Like we've seen good RPGs, but I don't think we've seen one where the decisions matter so much and the world responds so much to the decisions that you make. I would say in that aspect, it is even more in depth and detailed than The Witcher 3. And The Witcher 3 is like my favorite game ever. I'm saying that the Baldur's Gate 3 even like fucking blows Witcher 3 out of the water in that aspect. It's just so, I don't know, I'm saying that again and again. It is just a generation defining experience that is going to be talked about for years to come. It is like the Sopranos of video games now. And I don't think that is enough talking about the game. This was pretty casual, and I'm going to do a proper review about it when I have finished the game, and it's going to be long and in-depth as well because that game deserves it. It deserves everything. Hats off, Larian. You guys did something incredible for the video game industry. Now, before moving on to number one, there are some honorable mentions which I want to mention. First off, we have Lies of P. Now, Lies of P is just such a good game. It has such good art direction, and the level design, boss fights are so great. The gameplay just all around is amazing, and I personally really enjoyed that game. Even though I am not a big Souls games fans personally, I still enjoyed Lies of P so much. And the other honorable mention that I want to make is Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Like, I think the only reason I am not putting it officially on the list is because that game had a fuck ton of performance issues at launch. That game is pretty fucking amazing. It's epic, the story is great, the characters are great, and it just keeps getting better the more you play it. It is just a roller coaster journey that every Star Wars fan like me would enjoy. Okay, it is time, people. It is time for my game of the year. Well, here it is. My personal game of the year for 2023 is
Resident Evil 4.
Yes, I know it is a remake, but so what, dude? It released in 2023, and I don't know why I'm trying to explain myself why I have it as my game of the year. Like, people that have played the original know what I'm talking about because it is the same game as the 2005 Resident Evil, but at the same time, it is a completely different game. It is exactly how a remake should be. It is faithful, it is loyal, and it modernizes the gameplay and story. It not only builds on the groundwork of the original, it fucking modifies it. There are so many changes, like even the smallest things have been changed, and that like from the I'm comparing this to the original right now. Like, I'm not comparing this to Resident Evil 2 remake or 7 or Village or Biohazard or whatever the fuck. I'm comparing it to the original Resident Evil 4. And with that, there have been so many changes. Like, even the smallest things in the original game, you couldn't move while you were aiming and shooting, and so you had to plan out your gameplay. Like, you had to think, where could I position my character during this combat encounter so that I would have an advantage over my enemies. But in the remake, you can move while shooting, and that completely changes how you think about playing the game. It completely changes it. I don't think people realize that a lot. The level design is so much more vast and gives so much freedom for the players to explore. There are new additions like side quests, and there is so much freedom to backtrack to areas that you visited before and explore them more. There is a whole new mechanic of stealth. The original game did not have stealth, and there are small additions like parry. And the game also has story and character changes, which even they keep true to the story and character of the original, but at the same time they modernize it and they make it so much like real and make it feel so much more immersive than the original did, in my personal opinion. And that's just amazing. They made one of the most annoying video game characters ever into the most lovable video game companions that you just want to protect. And that just goes to show how good of a remake Resident Evil 4 is. It is not just some half-assed remake like The Last of Us Part 1 where they just improved the graphics. It changes the level design, the gameplay. It modifies the groundwork that the original laid, and it's just such an overall amazing experience. And the reason why it's my game of the year, because, well, I don't think I have to explain myself further than saying that it is the game that I enjoyed playing the most this year, that released this year, because it did release this year. You cannot say that it's not a game that released in 2023. It did. And people who say that it shouldn't be considered for game of the year, dude, the game fucking released this year. I mean, that's it. It's a remake or not. Like, remasters, I can understand. Remasters are just like ports of the older game with improved graphics to newer gen hardware and shit. But remakes are completely built up from the ground, and the fact that it released this year, that says something. Like, it's a game that released in 2023, even though it's a remake. And just like TV shows and movies, reboots and remakes where they are considered for awards and shit and in best of the year list, so should video game remakes be. That's just my take. I know people have other opinions, and that's personally my take. It's just such an amazing game for me. It has one of my favorite video game atmospheres ever. The sound design alone creates such an incredible experience along with everything. Like, even the smallest things make it so great. I'm going to get into some one tiny thing that makes the experience great for me. It's just a tiny thing. When you save the game and you open the typewriter, the sounds the typewriter makes with the save theme in the background, it's just, that adds to the immersiveness of the game. I don't know how to explain it. It's just so satisfying when you do that. I don't know, dude, I can't explain that shit, but it's a feeling you have. It's a feeling you have when you do it. I can't explain it. It's unexplainable. When I played the original game when I was a kid, it was one of my favorite games at that time, if I recall correctly. Well, now the remake is one of my favorite games. It's one of the best and most enjoyable video games I've played. I had so much fun playing it. I can't explain how much fun and how much of a good time I had playing this game. Now, I will also mention that both this and Baldur's Gate 3 are kind of interchangeable for me. Like, both of them are incredible games, and the fact that we have two games this year which I personally consider masterpieces and two of the best games ever made, this goes to show how much of an incredible year this year was for games. Well, I guess that's it for the video, guys. I hope you liked it. Well, if you did, be sure to like and share the video and subscribe to the channel. That would really help me out. I would really appreciate it. And don't forget to drop your favorite games of 2023 down in the comments. Well, I guess that's it. Bye.